brain. Declutter your brain.
See the faces of the cold world. Pour myself another round.
My audio wasn't on that whole time. Hi, everybody. I realized that my audio wasn't on. How are you? We've got everything working. Took a little longer than normal to get this live started. I don't normally have that, but we're setting up new tech stuff. I'm super excited. We've got new stuff to talk about. We've got snow on the ground. We've got partners in El Salvador. We've got all sorts of fun stuff going on. And we are, as always, here to talk about offers. And we have a huge workshop that's coming up next week. I'm super excited to be doing this. Oh, I'm hearing myself. I can't hear myself on your end. Caller, mute your radio. Caller, mute your radio. It's all right. The lovely and talented and super smart Anna. How are you, Anna? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. I'm excited that this works. This is so cool.
Yeah, and we've got, as I said, we've got cool stuff. The biggest thing for me is like having all the chats in one place, which even if we don't get a lot of chat, it's like, I think that's one of the biggest things that I have issues with on streams is like you're talking to 9 different places and yeah, Restream has their widget, but it doesn't always work that well. So I've got something that captures it all. It captures tweets, it captures TikToks, it captures everything. So this is something that we have to teach in a future course too, is how to use tech like this and teach people how to do it. But today, and for the next few days, we're going to be going live every day for the next couple of days because we want to talk about offers and we want to talk about all this new stuff that we've been working on for the past few weeks when it comes to the offer workshop. And we've done this. We did a trial of this over the past couple of months. We did a different format of the workshop, and we're changing things up, and we have a lot of exciting stuff to come over the next few months at Now Presenting You. But so tell us what you did. So yesterday you went on Facebook and you asked a question, and tell us a little bit about that. So what were you asking your Facebook community?
Hi, everybody. So yes, when I'm building a program or I'm launching something, my biz besties and I always ask ourselves, like, how do we price this? How are we clear? So I wanted to know what everybody thought process was while they are creating their own offers, because I know that the offer could be a super successful offer or it could totally have crickets. So I asked everybody, you know, when you're creating a new offer for your audience, like what is the biggest struggle you face? And the most response I got was clarity on how to share the offer.
Clarity on how to share the offer specifically. So
yes.
Well, because I think there's two factors when it comes to offer clarity. The first being, is the way that you're communicating the offer clear enough to begin with? And I think that's the biggest one. But then from there, clarity in how you communicate it is a totally different matter. So here's what I would say. I'll start this one and then you can add whatever you think. But what I would say first is that I think that the biggest issue that people have with offer clarity is a totally different thing. But for offer clarity is that most people have not had enough conversations about their offer. There's this thing that I like to call mad scientist marketing that exists. And so all of us try to be the geniuses. We try to be the smart ones. We do all of our research. We spend months and months. We say, okay, this is the thing that I want to offer. And this is what excites me and what I want to do. And so then we go to our laboratory. We go off. We spend months or years putting things together, trying to assemble the perfect offer. We're looking at what other people are doing. We're figuring all sorts of stuff out. And then what ends up happening is we build our creation, we get everything ready, we do all this work, and a lot of people invest time, effort, and energy and money. And then they come to realize that, oh, I never talked to a potential customer along the way, or I never talked to somebody that could give me some feedback and say that they didn't like what I was doing, or that the wording I was using was wrong, or that something was up, like something was wrong about the offer. So if you're having issues with offer clarity, the first thing you got to do is have more conversations. Have more conversations with coaches, mentors, trainers, and especially your audience to get super clear that they understand exactly. They're giving you that feedback saying, I like this or I don't like this. Does that make sense?
So basically what I'm hearing here, what you're saying is share your offer with other people, like put it into words, like vocalize it, because sometimes we just write it down, and writing it down is not the same as vocalizing it out loud.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
When we ask other people, our peers, our colleagues, how does it sound, and they give us actual feedback, then it could get more clear. But until we do that, until we share it, right? And that's the other thing. People have fear of sharing it because it's not polished enough. It's not scientific enough. It's not good enough to put out there. So I think that it's not just having a clear message of what you offer, but being confident that you will deliver what you're offering, because imposter syndrome, I think, hits a lot in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to speak to imposter syndrome a little bit more, because I know this is a big thing. What have you experienced when you're working with people, especially on the event side, with imposter syndrome, and how is that showing up for people? So what are the types of things that they're saying or doing, or the saboteurs that are showing up for that?
Well, there's a few things. First is, are people going to understand what this whole event is, this whole offer is? Will they register? Will they come? And will they even buy? Because the imposter syndrome sets when we think that we're not experts enough to be sharing some things and selling them for our services, and then we invest in something and it's like low quality and we paid so much money for it, and then we're mad, right? So I think to crush imposter syndrome, get mad that there's like low quality things out there charging a lot of money for, and you're better.
I
that's
love
how you
that.
crush
Get
imposter
mad.
syndrome.
Get mad at the industry.
Get mad.
Yeah, I think that's true though, because the cliche thing about it, or the cliche thing you'll hear is like, oh yeah, most people start and realize that there's something missing. Like there's something missing from the market that they have to offer. I know that was true for me when I was starting, and I can't, sometimes I don't like to think about how long ago that was, but at the same time, it's like you started your business because you identified either, like you said, you can do it better, or that there was something that was not being served by other people, or that you would see something and it was not quite right. Because like for me, what I was seeing especially when I started doing marketing training years and years ago, is that there was nobody that was explaining it in a way that people could easily understand. Like that was the biggest thing. Like marketing, I always make this joke every time that I'm in a room, that marketing is a bunch of nerds who got together and decided to invent a language that other people would not be able to understand. So it's like they come up with words, and if you're talking to someone that has no experience with this stuff, the first thing that they say is like, well, what are you talking about? What is a funnel? What are CPMs? What is CPC? What is all these? And so there's
What
this
is
entire
a
terminology.
lead?
Yeah, what
I
is
had
a
a
lead?
client asking me what's a lead. It's so basic for us. It's like we
Right.
invent this secret language, and it happens anywhere, Ken. When I was selling Dell computers, we had a gazillion acronyms, but that
Yeah.
wouldn't build rapport with the client, so I couldn't bring
Right.
that to the call to make some sales. And the same translate when we're trying to create offers. It's like we're trying to speak the techno babble.
Right. And it's true. It's like it's jargon language. It's something that everybody makes mistakes on when they're making offers, is if you get too deep into your jargon or you get too deep into the specifics. People don't want to know specifics up front. Actually, there's a screenshot. I don't have it ready for today, but I'll have it ready for tomorrow. I took a really funny screenshot from a coaching group that I was seeing, saying a big list, and we talk about this in the offer workshop, showing like a big list of things that people never say. Like people never say, I want to manifest success. Like the average person never says something like that. People never say, like a lot of the words that you see or a lot of the headlines that people use or a lot of the ways that people talk about these things, no one talks like that. And so if you realize that no one actually talks like that, you have a big problem, because at that point it's like, okay, the audience is not going to understand that offer. And that takes you back to clarity. That is where the lack of clarity begins. The lack of clarity begins in the fact that, what I'm saying doesn't mean something to anybody, or it doesn't represent something that somebody wants, or that's not words that people would actually say, or, concept that people would actually want, or even worse, a problem that people don't want solved. Like if what you have has no urgency around it, like people are like, well, I can get to that 6 months from now, I can get to that a year from now, then nobody's going to take action on that. And it's always people think like this is sales tricks. That's what's even more annoying about it. There's no trickery involved here at all. It's just that the difference typically is that the other person or your competitor has urgency. They're not afraid to ask for it. They're not afraid to be like, okay, my offer is worth it. You should get this. It's worth it to you. And so if not, then really you have to make sure that that's there. The urgency has to be there. So I love the idea of get mad. Get mad. Just don't get mad at your customers.
Mad. So here's where I get this from. My mentor, Diane Hockman, if you ever see this, hi, I love you. She we're gonna talk about helping her with a summit soon. Already
nice.
calling it out online.
Okay,
but here's the thing. She has this mentor called Joe. I don't remember his last name right now. Don't kill me. But there's this call that they have, and I have it here on my phone. So when I'm like feeling imposter syndrome, I listen to that call, and they talk about getting mad that people that are uglier, less smart, less fast, less whatever, are doing so much more money and doing so many things, being New York Times bestsellers,
Right.
speaking on stages, going around the world, making multi-billion dollars, and you're here just waiting.
Yes.
Waiting for what? Like,
Yep.
get mad that, you know, there's so many other less talented people out there that are actually taking action. And that's the difference, right? Taking action or not taking action. And what you were saying about the language,
Yeah.
and that's why we're afraid to share our message, because it's like the love languages. You know, I'm speaking English, but you might be hearing Chinese.
Right. Well, and I like to teach it this way. There's this model that I teach. We talk about this in the offer workshop too, but I don't mind sharing it here because I think it's important to think about when it comes to communication. So this is not necessarily like a hard and fast rule, but it's a great way to think about how communication breaks down. So there's really 3 types of communicators or primary communicators. So I'm going to start with my type and probably your type. I haven't decided this yet in working with you long enough, but I want to see. I think this is probably your type. There's what I call the thinker types or the mental types. So whenever we get a new piece of information, the first thing that we have is an idea. We have a thought. Do I like this information? It's connecting to everything else in our system. We're thinking about all these different aspects of ourselves to go like, okay, I have this thought. And then based on how that thought, we then have a feeling. So we go, okay, I like this, I don't like this, you know, whatever our emotional response is to that thought. And then lastly, what happens is that information, that emotion is then processed somewhere physically. It's processed somewhere in the body. So if you don't like something, this is the easiest way to describe it. If you don't like something in this case, what's happening is you might feel a little sick to your stomach. You might feel lightheaded. You might get a headache. Like maybe not something that strong, but you'll have a physical sensation that follows that up. So the thinker types, it goes in that order. It goes thought, feeling, body. That's the best way to think about it. And that's about 33%. That's about 33% of the population is the best way to think about it. So then let's get to the other 66% of the population. So then you have people who are emotional types. The first thing is we give them a new piece of information. We give them something new. And the first thing that happens is they have a feeling. So they go, oh, I like this or I don't like this. They're going along with it. They're vibing. Whatever it is that's happening, they're having a feeling. Then that feeling goes into the body somewhere. So are they having a pleasant sensation? Not. You know, if they're feeling bad, it sinks in. Their body posture might change. Things might change about them. And if not, then what ends up happening is that they, you know, brighten up. They sit up in their chair. They lean in. They're paying attention. So they have this feeling. Then it goes into the body. And then lastly, they have a thought. So then the brain catches up to the feeling and to what's happening in their body. And they go, oh. So in a lot of workshop rooms, especially if you're a speaker or trainer, a lot of the people that are attracted to being students and learners in those types of rooms are emotional types. They're the type of people that feel first. They like the feeling of being in a particular type of training or workshop or community or that kind of thing. That is an emotional type. And then lastly, you have the body types. Body types are kind of obvious. You can see them, especially if you're speaking on a stage. You can spot body types right away because they carry their physical energy around. Like everything is energy with them. So the way they sit, like if they have their arms folded, if they're really there, they're like the anchors of your room. And when you become a speaker and you go through speaker training, that's something that you learn about a lot is like who are the anchors of your room and how do you use them, you know, as you're trying to influence people, you're trying to get them to do certain things. So first, they have that sensation in the body. They just react to whatever you're giving them, whatever that thought is, whatever that new idea is. Then they have an emotional response to that. They start deciding, you know, do I like this? Do I not like this? Is it positive? Is it negative? Any of that stuff. And then finally, based off of that, again, just like the emotional types, they have a thought last. So notice that even if it's, I would assume this is not an even 33% split across the population, but even if it were, notice how the thinker types have a very specific type of reaction, which is important to keep in mind. But then 66% of the population, they have a thought last. So if you're delivering a ton of rapid fire information, you're pushing a bunch of stuff at people really fast, or you're going through bullet points, or you're overwhelming people, there are so many people that their thoughts are lagging behind. And if you're checking in, you can even do this on Zoom. Like I know that you and I have done hundreds of virtual events over the past couple of years. Watch what people are doing and how they're responding on Zoom. It's really important to see, like, you can see, like, are people like sweating and have their hands like this or looking away or not paying attention. Like if you watch what happens in the window, you can reground yourself and go, okay, not being clear. Like this isn't getting across as much as I want this idea to get across. It's not going where I want it to go. And so in that case, you have to be willing to stop and reset or stop and reconnect with your feelers and your body type. And so there's a lot of ways that you have the ability to integrate this into training and into making an offer, especially, which is a big part of what we talk about in the workshop. Like we talk about the framing, we talk about the presentation, we get really specific about those things, and that makes a huge difference. But if you think about those 3 shortcuts and like how people process new ideas and new information, or in any way, this happens everywhere, it happens in public, then it'll make a big difference in what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. And I think that when we practice out loud, it's like, Anna, but I don't know if my offer is going to work, right? I don't know if it's going to fly, said someone on my comments, right? Juan Pablo said that. I'm
It's gonna fly.
well, have you practiced it? Like you said, right? See how people react to you. Do they stay silent? Do they change their body language? And this is why I always tell clients and also everybody that does live virtual events,
Yeah.
that if they do not look at the people in the cameras and they don't force people to turn on their cameras, they're doing a disservice to everybody.
100%.
Yes, it's more comfortable to turn off your camera and be in your pajamas and like be all not having to dress up or whatever, but you don't go to an in-person event with a bag over your head.
Right. Of course you can't.
I mean, you can, but
I don't know what kind of events you're going to, but maybe.
hey, no, wait, you totally can, and make it your peace statement, and everybody's gonna talk about who was the one with the with the bag over their head and these little holes.
Absolutely. But we'll have that. We'll have the bag over your head summit, and we'll just have everybody there. That would be fun. It'd be kind of like the
For
Masked
introverts,
Singer.
it would be really fun.
It's like, it'd be the Masked Singer. Everyone just dresses up in costumes and they show up and nobody knows who's delivering the information. That'd actually be really interesting, because that would be a fun concept that we should take a note of in the future, where you do something called like the Invisible Summit, where basically there's a bunch of trainings and a bunch of gifts. Yeah, they don't know who it is. Like they don't know.
Change their voice too, because
Right.
voices are because most of these people have podcasts, so you can recognize their voices. We're gonna distort your voices too. Who wants to participate?
I love this idea, because then it's funny, because a lot of people will judge information and offers. This is true of offers based off who's delivering it. Like, especially, it doesn't matter how you look, how you present yourself, how your voice sounds, how you're dressed, whatever, and a lot of people will interpret based off that. So that's actually kind of a funny idea. But yes, you can't walk around with a bag on your head for the most part. And especially doing all the things that you need to do to grow, all the things that you need to get done, like you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And I like all of that. So, and go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, what I was going to say is that how do we tie this to offers, right? Because we're always like giving examples of events.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's awesome.
Well, events are an offer. So like our offer.
Yeah, that's true. No,
our offer, for example, is an event.
Down, and like what we're trying to tell you basically is like, say it out loud, like we were talking about. Put it out there, like Ken said. Put yourself out there. Offer it. If there's crickets, then try again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're overwhelming people. So here's another tip, right? Sometimes we want to intentionally overwhelm people, but I think that's a sleazy tactic, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think it's sleazy. I think it's bro markety. I think it's
bro markety. I like this term, bro markety. Hashtag bros.
They don't even deserve bro marketers anymore. It's bro markety. It's sleazy, and this is what happens. A lot of us have invested in the past in programs that did not pan out. That we did all the work and it just wouldn't translate, because the offer, what we were presented as the offer, was something, and then the delivery was another thing. So this is when we can crush imposter syndrome. Make sure that those things match 100%.
Yes.
Make sure that you're expressing that this is what's going to happen, and don't overwhelm people. Like, you cannot take people in one program in 12 months from A to Z.
Right.
Like we
You
can't.
shouldn't.
Like
And you
building
shouldn't
a
try.
business, like a business coach. Let's use a business coach for an example. Building a business, a good one that's gonna last 100 years takes decades
Yes. Yep.
of ups, downs, offers that suck, offers that are great, the market crashing, life happening, like business gets affected by personal gets affected by business.
Yes.
It's a whole ball game. You cannot try to sell in an offer the whole business in a year.
Right. Absolutely.
It doesn't resonate. It in the back of our subconscious mind, we know it's a scam.
Right. Right. Well, and
don't
that's
be
something
scammish.
we actually break that down a ton.
Yeah.
That's one step that we do in the workshop, because what the biggest reason this is a workshop, like we could obviously sell offer training as a program, and lots of people do sell this as a program. The issue, and we probably even will do that eventually for people who want the training, but the reason we do this in workshop format, and we've done it this many times this way, is that you need the feedback. You need to put something out there and have it not work. Or you need to put something out there and be like, wow, this is what I thought like the key thing was that people want, and then they don't want it. Or it's not specific.
Yes. And that's another mistake on like not being clear and being afraid that we're not being clear. It's because we're doing it because we want to do it, because we think that that's what the audience wants.
Yes.
And we don't even listen to them. We don't even we pretend we didn't just go through a collective trauma. Market has changed. We have changed. I guess offers have to change now. Hell yeah. They have to. You have to improve that offer that you already have. Yeah, you might have this offer that worked 2 years ago, a year ago, but it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
So when you come to our workshops, what we do is we help you be in front of other people too, your peers, and you're going to see their faces.
Yep.
You're going to see how they react. I think body language is
Don't scare people too much.
important.
You can't scare them too much. Some people will be like, oh my God, I'm never coming to this workshop.
No. Okay, it's not about being scary.
I'm kidding.
No, but yes, I can see how it can be scary.
Yes.
Okay, my introverts, we love you. And we want to do this with like a little bit of tough love because you need it. You need it. Trust me.
Yes. Well,
But, like-
and the thing is, the other thing I want to bring up, because you're bringing up differences in offers, is generational gap. Like one thing we talk about specifically in the speaker and expert industry that's so important is that there's a huge generational gap right now, especially when it comes to business training, because what we see is that there are speakers and trainers and experts and people that have been around. What's up, 3D Code Warrior? Good to see you. What's great about a lot of experts who are skewing, on the older side, they're 40 plus, is that they have tons of experience and expertise in what they do. They're long-term experts in their field. They've been doing it for a long time. They understand all these things, and that's fantastic. And they are willing, to make the sale and communicate in a certain way. But what they don't realize is that amongst younger entrepreneurs or people in that generation is that younger entrepreneurs aren't working for the same types of tricks or don't have the same types of incentives. The drive to do certain things is not the same. So if you're talking to a creator, like there's actually two creators, Thomas and 3D Code Warrior, thanks for being here. There's actually two types of creators right now. And the thing is that if you're talking to a creator about, pitch formulas or sales things that would typically work really well in the 40 plus audience, they're going to be like, I don't need to know any of that, or I can go find that on YouTube, or I can go look up trainings or tutorials or that types of things on what I'm doing. And they're willing to put in that work. But what I found, and this is what's interesting and what we're trying to do in the business, what I found is that the biggest issue is that creators are super driven, super media oriented, understand tech, are willing to dive in, are willing to go research things. But the business side is where it's lacking. Like understanding business fundamentals, understanding like so many creators right now, for example, are just counting on a platform to pay them. It's like, okay, I'm going to make YouTube videos for 3 years until YouTube pays me. Or I'm going to be live on Twitch 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 years until somebody pays me. And they don't ever understand, the fundamental concept of an offer, of saying like, okay, there's got to be some other way that you can bring people into a relationship and into working with you and build a model around those things. And the creators that are mastering this right now, like a lot of the people at the top of the industry, they're the ones who are dominant on that front, which is so important to think about. So, you know, you have to be able to speak across that too. And that's one of the things that I love about what we're trying to do and why we're doing this workshop again, because everybody needs this. At the end of the day, you have to be able to sit in front of somebody, whether it's virtually or it's in person, and you have to be able to offer them something. You have to be able to say, okay, this is how you start working with me, or this is what I'm going to do for you, or this is how, you know, I get you into my process, or whatever it is. And both groups need it, and both groups can really learn from each other. And that's the thing. Like because I was making this joke. I've been in a lot of networking groups and business stuff the past few weeks, and it's like I look around and there's a lot of gray hair. There's a lot of gray hairs, and people and a lot of the younger people are not showing up to that stuff, which is a huge mistake. It's actually a huge problem. And
That's
one of the
why
things
I was the youngest always all the time.
I was too. Like I was there because I was forced to be there when I was working in a job. So like that's how it started for me. But then I started to realize like, okay, this is really important. This is good stuff to know and good stuff to experience, because now I realize like, oh, you know, this is where I build relationships with people who are either going to buy from me or they're going to partner with me. Like that's the biggest way we promote the workshops and the things we do. So that's really important to be thinking about. But yeah, so for clarity, you've got to understand that. And again, we do this in a workshop format where you spend all day with us and we work together. We go through it. You get the feedback. You're going to change things on the fly. And we actually, this is another thing, another step that we do in the workshop is that when we're breaking down what you do specifically, we make you talk about how you're going to do it. So when you make your promise, you say, okay, I'm going to like Potato Warriors here, who's a good friend of ours from streaming. It's like, I'm going to teach you how to play guitar. Like that's way too big of a promise. I'm going to teach you how to play guitar is 3 years, you know? So it's like, I'm going to teach you how to do specific things. I'm going to teach you how to play your favorite song. That's something that's easier to promise.
Super easy and
right.
Break it into pieces. Basically.
Unless you're, I'm going to teach you to play my favorite song is like Trivium or something. But even at that point, it's like, okay, that's fine. But getting specific about those promises, getting specific about exactly how you fulfill on them, understanding like those specific details and how you frame an offer is what's going to make it easier. Because it's so much easier to say, I just want to teach you how to play your favorite song, even if it's the basic version of it. Or I want to teach you how to do a specific thing that solves something right now. And then once I've got you doing that and I've done that for you, then I've got you. I really do. I will teach Potato. Thomas is like, I will teach you to play guitar blindfolded. So yeah, good. He will do that. But Thomas Frank is an amazing guitar player. And these are people I actually know from my music life. But yes, I will teach you to play guitar blindfolded. I don't know who wants that. There's probably somebody that does. But the people that want that, yes, go ahead.
Somebody that already plays guitar and wants to get pro level.
Yes, exactly.
So it depends how you package that.
Right.
Because some offers, and that's the other thing, and I see in the mistake on the clarity, everybody wants to sell to the newbies.
Yeah.
What about intermediate and high level?
Right.
We need to keep growing.
Yes.
I get so bored at some events now that I'm like, oh
some
my
events?
God. Yeah, I'm gonna be nice today.
I get bored. The thing is being in event industry for 15 years, I've pretty much seen everything there is to see. And I still register for stuff all the time. It's like the event part of the event is what drives me crazy now. And it's like, I want to get to the specific content I'm there for. I want to get to the specific thing.
And that's what we want to avoid with your offer and with your events and with your sales and everything that we're going to start teaching you here and now presenting you, because we are bored, so we're going to help you in your audience not to be bored. This is what you need.
We're bored.
Hey, I mean, it's true.
It is true.
They think that they can keep teaching the same things and it's not going to work, right? And again, with the offers and the clarity and the messaging all comes together, right? If we are clear and we are clear on what we sell, what levels we sell to, how we can deliver it, how can we help them actually move the needle? And this is why we do workshops and not a masterclass.
Yeah.
Because we want you to finish that offer. We want you to, by the end of the day, to present it to your peers or the middle of the day or wherever.
They're going to do it multiple times in that day, all the time.
Yeah, like at all times. We're gonna help you break that stage fright.
Right.
Because that's
Exactly.
another thing, right? I understand stage fright, I understand camera fright, and I understand social media going viral could be an actual fear.
Yes.
Success is it's a fear that's very real, and I understand, especially as women, because we could get attacked and
Yes. We are streaming
blah,
on Twitch right
blah,
now, which
and
is basically the
yeah.
worst for that. So, yes.
Yes. So, anyways, it's like there's so many things, right, that we could achieve if we just stop being afraid.
Agreed.
Because there's so many people that are looking for you and your solution, and you're out here doubting yourself that you got the goods. We
Right.
want to stop you from doubting that, because I know for sure, like your list, my list, we're all only surround ourselves with very smart people.
Yeah, that's the idea. And that's the whole purpose of this community in general.
Yeah.
So we've been on a while, so we weren't even planning to be on this
Forever,
long.
we have to
It's
stop.
okay. So I want to talk about what to do with this and what's happening. So obviously we appreciate everybody hanging out. We're going to be doing these streams every day over the next couple of days. And generally they're going to be around a half an hour. We were a bit long today because I needed to get the tech set up, and this is a totally new setup, and there's still improvements coming. Thomas Frank taking notes. Thank you for that. Like stuff like this that I can do on these streams now, which is fun. But yes, please take notes. And so what do you do now, and what do you do with this, especially if you're watching the replay? Obviously, we mentioned we have a free offer workshop that's coming up next week. It's on the 15th. So you can find that at nowpresentingyou.com/workshop. Actually, I can send that everywhere. So let's do that. nowpresentingyou.com/workshop. So that is where we're really going to go into big detail about all of these things, where we talk about like the whole process of how we build an offer and how we do all these different steps. So that'll be a big piece of what we do there. We also have a social video class that's coming up that starts the week after. So it starts on the week of the 22nd. And we've got a number of different workshops coming up. I'm actually really excited, and I will definitely have her on a future session of this. I'm working with someone that is one of the leaders in the field of emotional intelligence, where she talks about, leadership and goal setting, and like how to quantify these things and how they quantify across your business and your organization. She's fantastic at that. So we'll be hosting an event with her. So we have so many cool things that are happening over the next few months, but we really want to go live and answer questions. And if you're watching this and you're like, okay, say something specific or give us feedback on a specific offer, or I want to know, like, what are you going to do to me? So again, it costs you nothing to register for this, which one thing that I know, this is a big claim, but I know this is true because I've been in the workshop industry for 15 years. I know that this is the type of workshop that with other speakers, you would pay at least $1,500 to go to get this quality of feedback and the quality of training of what we're going to do. Like, this is the type of stuff people hold back. But for us, Anna, Sarah, and I, Sarah is not here today, but she'll be on future sessions of this. When we're here, we want to show you what we can do, which is the reason why you want to stay in this community, rather than just saying like, oh yeah, this is where we're going to take you 6 months from now. I know that offer is the biggest reason people don't make money. Your offer isn't strong enough. You don't understand the specifics of what you're doing. Like, you don't have something that people want. So any of those things, offer is where it starts. If we fix that and get you on the right track, that you have something that will sell itself, or you have something that you put it in front of somebody and they go, wow, I really want that. Or wow, that's just easy. Like, it doesn't, like, even with this workshop, when I tell people what we're going to do at it, it's an easy offer for me. It's like, yes, we're going to teach you what normally would cost about $2,000. We're going to walk you through the whole process. You're going to get feedback. You're going to leave with specifics of what to do. And the workbook walks you through each of those pieces. And that's the direction we're going. And so then also for some of you who are creators, another thing that we have available, if you head to nowpresentingyou.com, and some of you have taken this already, which I really appreciate, I'm developing quizzes for all of our people. So we have a creator quiz right now for those of you that are streamers and YouTubers and influencers and anybody in that market, to really gauge where you are at in the business growth process as a creator. So if you haven't taken that quiz, go and do that. And I'm actually working on the speaker quiz and the author quiz right now. So those are things that I want to do. I also want to do a launch quiz. So those are the promises I'm making live on stream at this point, that I want to have those 4 quizzes for people to say like, okay, I want to do a launch, or I want to do an event, or I want to do a summit, or I want to do anything. Like, they go take the quiz and, are you ready for this? And that's really important there. So I appreciate all that. Anna, anything else you want to add before we close today?
Well, just like if you, I don't know. I don't have anything to add. It's so good. We could talk for hours about offers, but
We are. We'll be talking for hours about it next Wednesday.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, instead of talking here, let's go to a private community. We're gonna help you out. Just join us. It's 100% for free. There's no agenda. Of course, there's gonna be steps to work with us later, like duh. But we want to actually help you make money because that's really the most important part here.
Yeah.
Instead of going backwards like everybody else, we're helping you make money first, and then we can help.
We're not putting you 10,000 in debt first and then telling you to make money. No. Hey, you know what I will say about that? You're motivated in that case. Like if it's like, okay, this is where I'm starting. And again, it's nothing against that. It's just saying like in our particular model, because of the way that we're structured, we do it different. So it's like we want to be upfront about some of these things that are just core pieces of what you do. Because for us, as I said, we are event producers. We're people that help with program launches. And so when you're like, okay, I want this offer to really go somewhere, that's what we do. So that and really, again, that's why the business is even called Now Presenting You, because this is really about how we present you and how we help you get out there and get sales and get moving. So, and that's also why Anna's on board. Anna, for any of my people watching this who've never met you before, I'm so grateful to have you in this. And Anna's one of the few people that I've met in years that I meet that I know actually understands the process of how all this works. When I sit down and I talk to you and I say, okay, this is what we want to do, like she understands that and then goes like, okay, we can get that, we can execute, we can put a plan together, we can move this forward. And that's how you know that somebody knows their stuff. Like for me, it's really how you know, like, okay, there's plenty of people where if I said, this is what I want to do, they would, dodge the question or weave around it or not understand the specifics or give me something that isn't real. Like, and I'll be like, okay, yes, that's not someone that I want to work with. But in our case, as I mentioned, we'll be doing these over the next couple of days. We will be live at 1:30 Pacific tomorrow or thereabouts, like right around 1:30 Pacific. And same on Friday. So we're going to try to do these at 1:30 Pacific. And again, if you have any questions, anything you want to hear, and if not, just show up because it'll always be entertaining. So thanks for being here. We will catch you guys later. Bye.